Hey, welcome back to another look. I am here in the lovely offices again of the building of the Urban League of Greater Cleveland. Okay, and so now I'm going to be talking with Cassandra Collier-Williams. She's been a practicing attorney for over 21 years here in the Greater Cleveland area. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
So now this is not. I know you're not new at this. It's been probably a natural talking to people. So let's talk about who you are, where you come from. Let's talk about the beginnings in Springfield, Ohio.
You knew.
And the six
Yeah,
children that your mother had. The Reverend.
Absolutely, absolutely. I was born in 1957 in Springfield, Ohio, the youngest of six children. And I always tell people the truth about how I was raised. Not only do we have a very, very strong belief in God and a very, very strong belief that I can do and achieve anything that I want to as long as we work hard, but we came from, they used to call it the bottoms in Springfield, where we had no hot running water. So whenever you wanted to hot run water, you had to actually put a big pot on the stove and you
Had to boil it.
Okay. And the stove was powered by coal and wood. We had no indoor restrooms, so my twin brothers would go out and dig, and they would build an outhouse, and every so many months you had to tear it down and build a new one. So, but when I tell people that, they go, wow, that was, oh my God. But it was a great upbringing for me because it let me know that I don't look down on anybody. I don't think I'm better than anybody because I remember what it's like, to go out to the outhouse and things like that. But more importantly, it let me know that I can still do and achieve anything that I want to if I put my mind to.
Now, Mom told you, Reverend G.E. Collier,
Yes.
told you at a very young age that you were going to be a lawyer.
She did. She did. And I don't know whether she foresaw it or whether she just was putting that seed in me for it to grow. But she used to always say, you're going to be a lawyer, you're going to be a lawyer. And I would go, okay. Then after a while, I started saying, I'm going to be a lawyer, I'm going to be a lawyer. Okay. And the great thing about that, and I try to do that with my sons, is give them direction. Because oftentimes, if you don't have direction, then you're kind of like floundering around as opposed to having a point, going towards it, and achieving it. And that's what I did. I was single-minded, basically. I never wavered from thinking that I was going to be a lawyer, even though a lot of my scholarships were in music because I sang, I played trombone, I was a drum major. I did all this thing, concert, vocal.
So the music scholarships was a door opener for you to get to Miami University.
Get to Miami University. And but I always knew I'd be a lawyer. And in fact, I majored in pre-law in there. So it was just a great experience and very, very happy that all of my experiences are just, I can't, it has made me who I am today.
So what got you to Cleveland?
In 1987, I came to Cleveland to attend Cleveland Marshall College of Law. At that time, I was already married, divorced, with two sons.
Wow.
My sons were 18 months and 3 years old. No family in Cleveland. And I remember people saying, are you crazy? Why?
Go back home.
Yes. Don't you coming up here? You trying to go to law school and you got them two boys? But again, I had a direction. I knew just what I wanted to do, and I knew that if I worked hard, I'd achieve it. And that's what I did. I worked very hard. I got on law review at Cleveland Marshall College of Law. I had scholarships, worked hard to keep my scholarships, and end up really not having any debt from Cleveland Marshall College of Law.
Now, is it true that I heard that was it Judge Blackman that actually hired you over the phone?
That's correct. That's correct. When I was in Springfield, I had a good friend who I worked with. I did some volunteer work at the prosecutor's office in Springfield, and I told him, I said, I'm going to law school. And he said, I know two people in Cleveland I'm going to call. He said, one is Judge Black, but at that time she was a prosecutor. She was chief prosecutor of the city. He called her and said, hey, I got this great girl. She's coming up there. And Judge Blackman said, okay, she comes to me and I will give her a job. And she did, by the way. And the second person was Stephanie Tubbs Jones. That was his mentee. And so he called her, and at that time, she was on the bench. She was a judge. And so she would give me valuable information on where to take my kids, what daycare to use, and things like that. And she became one of my mentors as well.
Okay, now with all that, and you passed the bar, you're working, you're doing some things, you actually had a chance to land a job at a mid-sized law firm here in Cleveland.
I did.
What about that? I mean, just tell me about the experience. Everyone probably know it. It's George Forbes, but just talk about the experience of just being a part of that.
I started at Forbes law firm in 1989. And I started as a law clerk, and I stayed there for 10 years to 1999. And it was a great experience. And the reason why it was so great was because I learned so much. You know, sometimes people, they come and they say stuff, you know, they're trying to bully me or something like that. And I said, you know, I was taught by the master. So it's kind of hard to bully me. It's kind of hard to try to force me to do something that I don't really want to do. But it was a great experience. There were great people there. And I'm so glad that I had that experience.
And at that, what point did you decide, okay, I'm going to step out on faith and do my own thing?
That's exactly what it was, on faith. You know, a lot of times people, they will say when you get ready to start your own business, you know, have 6 months of reserves saved up or have this or that. And I really didn't think about that. I remember I broke my ankle. I was playing with my boys and on ice, and I twisted it. I thought it was just a sprain, but it turned up being a break. And I was holed up in my house. I had an office in my home, and I was still working every day. You know, they were faxing me stuff, emailing me stuff, and I was doing all this great work. And I started thinking, I said, wait a minute, I can do this myself. And that's what I did. In June of 1999, I opened the law offices of Cassandra Collier-Williams in my home. My 2 sons were teenagers, and I really wanted to be home for them because, you know, oftentimes people think that, oh, you should be there for your children when they're babies. No, babies, they can kind of take care of themselves in a sense, you know, meaning that they're okay. But it's when they're teenage that they really need to have strong guidance. And I wanted to be there for that because I'm sort of a workaholic, and I would be gone late, you know, 7 o'clock getting home, and I would come home and there'd be all these kids around my house because my boys were inviting all these kids in. So I changed all that by being home. And so I worked out of my house for 2 years. And then when I outgrew
the offices, it's on St. Clair.
Well, first I moved to Superior. I started sharing space with attorney James Hewitt, who's a great guy, and I stayed with him for about 3 years. We were not a firm. We just shared space. Okay. And when I outgrew that, then I opened my office at 2103 St. Clair Avenue.
I knew St. Clair was in there somewhere.
It was in there. And I stayed in St. Clair until June of 2011 when I moved here at the Urban League building, and I've been here ever since. But I think it's really important for people to know that I grew my law firm from my living room to here, where I now employ 3 lawyers and support staff. Okay. So we've worked hard.
So with all that, I mean, and you have been well versed in practicing law, criminal, civil, to domestic, to working with all kinds of cases. See, I've done my homework. Yes. Now you've decided, I'm going to step up. Now I want to be able to impact people's lives even greater by running for common pleas court judge. And let's talk about that.
Well, I believe it's time. I have been practicing law for over 21 years. And I'm running for the seat in the common pleas bench. That's our felony court. And I believe I'm needed there, and that's why I chose there. You know, sometimes people, they jump from, you know, they may say, okay, now I'm going to run for muni, now I'm going to run for juvie, now I'm going to run for probate, now I'm going to run for... No, I've always said I wanted to be a common pleas judge. Right now, I've worked very, very hard, and I believe I've earned the right to be on that bench. And I think that's important. And there's history involved here. Right now there are 34 common pleas judges and only 3 are African American. And it's very difficult to run countywide, but I believe that this year we're going to make history, and we're going to I'm working very, very hard to win, and I expect to win.
Now, I was listening to a conversation. I heard you and one of your assistants talking how you want to go out into the community, talk with maybe some of the senior citizens to be their voice, because too often they're forgotten about.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I believe in giving back. When I was president of Norman S. Minor, we did a lot of pro bono work. I've always worked very diligently in the community, and and very much in the churches as well, because the church is my background. So we will continue to do that. I believe my mother taught me before she passed, and she passed in on February 14th, 2001. And very shortly before she passed, she told me, she said, there's 2 things you've got to always remember, and you'll be okay if you remember these 2 things. And I said, well, what's that, Mom? And she said, to give and to forgive. And that's so important. So I live my life, I don't hold grudges, I don't hold things, I let things go. And then I just work hard to make things better. And that's so important. And right now, I just want to make Cuyahoga County better. And I believe giving back by becoming a common pleas judge is critical.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have been sitting here with Cassandra Collier-Williams. She is phenomenal. Phenomenal. You've done a lot. I applaud you for what you've done. Now, if someone wants to get involved, maybe volunteer, get a yard sign, maybe help make phone calls, what could they do?
They can call me at area code 216-621-9190, and one of my staff will definitely take their information and get back to them.
I can see you are heavily endorsed. You got Marsha Fudge. You have former Congressman Lewis Stokes. You're also being endorsed by the Cuyahoga County Democratic Party.
I am, and we have over 55 endorsements. Over 19 mayors across this county has endorsed my candidacy. So we certainly are working hard, and I believe that those endorsements are well placed, and that we will make the people of Cuyahoga County proud.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first. Again, please, if you have not registered to vote, please do so. Vote. Get your family to vote. Anybody who's in your household, they need to get out and express their voice. Thank you so much for allowing us to take another look at Cassandra Collier-Williams.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
We'll be right back with more of Another Look.